If you had told me 10 years ago, so in 2010 for people that don't like to do maths, that come 2020, we were going to be talking about having WrestleMania 36 in front of no fans, and that we were going to be seeing AJ Styles versus Undertaker on that card, I would have looked at you, I would have taken my fist and just started beating you up like Ryu from Street Fighter 2, or any Street Fighter, you can choose your favourite one, because I would not have believed it. And yet here we are, in said year, and that's the situation we find ourselves in. But right now, I think the most important thing is that everybody just stays calm and everybody just stays safe. I know, the bald asshole, I don't need to hear this stuff from you, I get it, but I can't just start a random video here on YouTube and not mention it. That would be like burying your head in the sand. So I do hope that everybody's doing okay, and hopefully for the next 10, 15, 20 minutes, however long this video goes, we can just forget about our woes and have some fun. And we do that with this, the finger of power at the top, where we give the good bits an up, and we give the bad bits a down for last night's episode of Monday Night Raw, which had no fans. I love these empty Performance Centre shows. Now, they are going to run out of steam eventually, because how could they not? But it just presents World Wrestling Entertainment in such an interesting light, because here we did have Tom Phillips, Byron Saxton and Jerry the King Lawler stood looking into the camera like I'm doing now, welcoming us to Monday Night Raw, and then they got interrupted by Edge, who not only had his theme music, but also had his pyro smoke thing. And this was absolutely hilarious. It would be like you having some kind of thing set up in your house that when you enter a new room, your theme music hits. Like, imagine that, your dad's in the kitchen, he's making you some dinner, and then all of a sudden he just hears, "On this day," and he turns around, he's like, "I've told you, disable that, it's really frustrating." And then when he goes to, I don't know, fry the egg, all of a sudden, and steam and smoke goes all in his face. I would absolutely love it. Anyway, Edge was here, and fair play to him, because it came out afterwards that he had travelled 17 hours to get to the Performance Centre just so he could do this promo. So fair play to Edge for being a man that I think is coming up to 50 and still having that blood and passion running through his soul. And also, he did cut a promo here, and because there were no fans, we had the atmosphere again, and he was able to look right down the camera. Had a real intensity to it, and I believed every damn word he said. Give it up. And we got some nice little tidbits added to the Edge-Randy Orton feud too, because Edge doesn't believe all this baloney that fell out of the Viper's mouth a couple of weeks ago. He knows that all of this is because Randy Orton is jealous, because despite the similarities between the two, Edge had to work hard, he had to scrape, he had to crawl for everything that he got, whereas Randy was just handed it on a silver platter because his dad used to be a wrestler. Edge ain't wrong. Also turned out that Beth Phoenix had come to Raw a couple of weeks to retire on behalf of Edge, because she didn't think it was fair that he had to do it twice, but since Randy Orton placed his hands on her, everything has changed. And at WrestleMania, in front of 0 people, the rated R superstar wants a last man standing match. So yeah, this was really cool. This was really good, and I tell you, the kind of cool thing about having a last man standing match in an arena where there is 0 people is that they can just go crazy, I suppose. Try and tear the whole thing down. I am very intrigued. But thumbs up. Becky Lynch then arrived in one of those massive 6-8-wheeler truck things, and it had Becky Lynch and the man painted on it, and I also think I saw her face. She also just left it in the middle of the road. That thing was 100% illegally parked, so I presume it got towed later in the day. And I kind of pondered to myself, are we overthinking this whole Becky Lynch character? Wasn't it just a bit too much? Didn't this feel like some people just in a room going, what would be really cool? Oh, we can get a come in a truck. Like, it was just, if I stand here doing ups and downs in a wig, you'd be like, Summer, you don't need the wig. We get it. You're bald. We're happy to appreciate and take you for what you are. It's also got a little bit worse later, but I'll talk about it when we get there. And because it's really hard to kind of criticize anything in wrestling right now, because they're just doing their best, I'm still going to give it a down. But like the one I gave on SmackDown, it doesn't really count. I'm just doing it because look, I got powers, I got lasers in my hands. Anyone worried about what WWE was going to do in 3 hours of television then found out that they didn't need to worry, because we just aired the men's Royal Rumble from a couple of months ago. And that's not the worst thing in the world. If you've already seen it, you could have just gone to your bedroom and had a little bit of a dance. And if you hadn't seen it, it was a really good match, so you probably should have been entertained. And it also did underline that Drew McIntyre is a badass. We have already been over that Rumble though here on Ups and Downs, So after thinking about it, I was like, man, we can just tell some wrestling theme jokes instead. So roll it. What did Hulk Hogan ask in Arts and Crafts? What you gotta glue, brother? What do you call any Triple H match? A buried alive match, because, buried his opponents. What did CM Punk say to Edge after the Rated R superstar asked him out on a date? I'm straight, Edge. How many Vince McMahons does it take to screw in a light bulb? None. Because the light bulb screwed the light bulb. You see what I'm doing. Why does the Big Show get lost when he travels? Because he keeps turning. I got another Big Show one for you too. Another Big Show one. How does the Big Show like his steak? Well, yeah, that was terrible. All right, that's enough. We did that. See, WWE can pull things out of nowhere. So can I. When it was done, the commentators were back and they did confirm that yes, as we've already mentioned, WrestleMania 36 will be coming from the Performance Centre in front of absolutely nobody. And I can't even get my head around this. It's going to take me a good few days before I process it. It's nobody's fault. You can't get mad at it. They're damned if they do. They're damned if they don't. We are living in unprecedented times. What I would do personally, just an idea, is I would pre-record some of it and kind of give it like a final deletion type vibe, like really up the production values. Just think it would help the pacing of the show. I will say that I'm just happy that I can have a little bit of distraction in early April, and we'll see how this whole thing plays out. But again, truly crazy times. We then had a contract signing, and my word, WWE, of all the things you could have just reneged on, you renege on things all the time, I'm pretty sure we could have scrapped the contract signing. Like, it's weird enough when you've got 10,000 people there, but when there's Jack All, just so strange. Thankfully, The Undertaker was smart enough to know that he definitely shouldn't perform his whole entrance in this kind of situation, but he still used his magic powers to turn the lights off and make everything all purpley, and then he stormed the ring like somebody owed him money. Taker was super pissed off for some reason and even flipped a table, and according to Tom Phillips, that's because he had come all the way out here only to find there was no contract to sign. And I was like, Taker, dead man, it's okay. That's not how a contract signing works. Somebody will have the contract, maybe give your lawyer a little bit of a call, and you'll get to do it. You'll get to write your name under Taker, then you'll have your match. Just please take a breath. It will be all right. Even though we were in an empty building, WWE still then played AJ Styles' music twice just to let us know that he wasn't going to come out to the squared circle. And I came to a revelation here. I was like, oh, right. People in WWE think that if you don't play a wrestler's theme at the right time, the world will spontaneously combust. So I appreciate them taking care of us all. Instead, though, the OC were in the back, and they made a very good point that even though right now they were in the PC, where people try and match everything The Undertaker has done in his own career, that wasn't true for AJ Styles, Gallows, and Anderson, because they went right through it and straight to the main roster because they're just that damn good. They then said to The Undertaker, Mark, they're using his real name again, what the hell are you doing even being at WrestleMania 36? I mean, look at other sports. Do you see Michael Jordan turning up and try and be in the NBA Finals? No, you don't. You're a relic, you're old, you're history, and you need to stop doing this, and you need to stop listening to your wife. And it was odd because the Phenom just stared at the screen, getting madder and madder. And I can only presume that when you have the fans there, in your head that acts as some kind of protective barrier, but when you don't have that noise, I was like, just go back there and kick his ass, Seabass. I do also want to point out AJ Styles was very funny here because he said not only was The Undertaker not going to be able to hide at WrestleMania, but he wasn't going to be able to run because, he's got bad knees. He also, very nice, he said that he would pay for Undertaker's assisted living costs. And like we do most weeks, AJ Styles gets a round of applause. Don't know what I'm looking at. Spin my head. He was holding the contract though, and he did sign the deal, and then he gave it to the OC and said, you go out there and you make him do it too. And while they were reluctant, AJ bullied them into it. And then it's got even more bizarre because as they came to the ring, the lights went off and Undertaker appeared behind them, and of course he whooped their ass. So if you ever wondered in kayfabe, are we actually meant to think that the dead man has magic spooky powers? Well, he does, and he used them here. Although fair play to him, he got behind them really damn fast. He then signed the contract, and to add insult to injury, he stuck it in Carl Anderson's mouth, and then The Undertaker and AJ Styles just stared at each other, even though one was in the arena bit and the other one was backstage. And once again, I was like, Undertaker, just go back. It's not that big a building. Go and try and kick him in the head, in the nose, do whatever you do. Give him a tombstone on the concrete. Still though, this was absolutely fun, mostly because it was absolutely ridiculous, and all I need right now is to be entertained. Give it up. Next up was Andrade versus Rey Mysterio in a non-title match because much like other things on this show, WWE knows that if they don't give us this match 42,799 times, the world will end. So that's what we got, but it still gets an up. Andrade and Rey Mysterio are flipping brilliant. And it obviously wasn't as great as some of the clashes we've seen from these two, but I think WWE is being quite smart. This was the only match we actually got in the Performance Centre, and they seem to be handpicking and choosing people that they know are really good. For example, Cesaro and Daniel Bryan over on SmackDown, here Andrade, Rey Mysterio. They kept it very short, and I actually think if you do get two people that are super skilled, they'll be able to go longer, but we're still feeling our way through the woods with this. So it was all right. Rey Mysterio won after the 619 and the splash. I know Andrade's the US champion, he should be winning. I don't care about that stuff right now. I don't care. Again, we are living in unparalleled times. This was absolutely fine. For some reason as well, Asuka was on commentary for this, and were we ever given the reason? I don't think so. Did it make me happy? Yes. And was it the best thing I've seen on Raw for a long ass time? I believe it was. Give it an up. No, wait. Give it an Oscar up. That's another one. I mean, the first thing she did was just to yell, yes, before anything got going. And then she just kept on going crazy from start to finish. And for yet more reasons that nobody ever told me, she just really, really liked Andrade and really, really wanted him to win. So when he lost, she lost her mind. It was like a fan had joined the announcers, but no one could be bothered to remove them. And as I said the other day, just give her all the titles. She is just incredibly entertaining. We should be using her in more roles like this. I didn't know what she said, but I'm still enjoying myself. Becky Lynch was then out for a promo, and it was okay. Up. And the only issue I took with this ties into the thing I was talking about earlier. Because she said that when she meets Shayna Baszler at WrestleMania 36, the former UFC star is going to realize that her whole life so far is a lie, and that is going to hit her like a truck. Because you know, she drove a truck to the building. I don't know who penned that line, but I would like a word. But I would like to know who did do it, so come on now, put your hands up, tell me. We're going to get your parents in for a meeting, and we're going to have a word with them and tell them what you did. We also saw Baszler on the big screen just watching this, getting madder and madder, and much like The Undertaker, why she didn't just go out there and beat Becky up, I don't know. But this was fine as an extra little caveat as these two do build to their big clash in a few weeks. And again, everybody here is just doing what they can. What are you going to do? I mean, it was okay, it was fine. Saw a clip of Rhea Ripley beating up Charlotte from last week and then trust Kevin Owens to take this situation and just make all the sense from it. Give it up. For starters, he explained he would like a microphone so he could address the camera directly, so he justified that within about 2 seconds, and then actually said he's pleased that WrestleMania 36 is going to happen from the Performance Centre because for Kevin Owens, this is where he had the hardest time in his professional wrestling career because it was in the PC where he had to prove everybody wrong and prove that he deserved to be in WWE because not only did everybody doubt him, but there was somebody else who did, and that man's name was Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins, who barely spent any time in the Performance Centre and just rocked on up to the main roster. So he is going to beat Seth in a match at WrestleMania, once again prove everybody wrong, and then he will find solace, and then he will kill Seth Rollins. He didn't say that. That would have been way too much, especially in this kind of setting. You'd be like, what? Bring that back down. But it's a good promo. I'm excited for this match. It's going to be very strange. But at least Kevin Owens came up with a way to give a little bit of poetic license to it. He is the man. And the ending to Raw was just so wonderful. It was so dumb. It was so goofy. I think that should be the theme for all of WWE shows going forward. Just make it as ridiculous as you possibly can. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Just put him in any kind of a ring with fans, no fans, maybe a goat's watching a bear, a monkey, and it will work. Give it up. And also, fair play to the Rattlesnake, because if it had turned out that he had decided not to do this show, I would have completely understand, but instead he thought, no, I'm going to go down there to Florida and I'm just going to have a good time. Hence why when he had done his entrance, he just threw himself on the floor and admitted on the microphone, can you believe it? I've blown myself up just walking to the ring. Austin was then celebrating the fact that it was 3/16 day, because of course it was March 16th, but as he did this and ran off the rules for what you can do in this 24-hour period, Byron Saxton, of all people, started to rate him with like scoreboards. He had numbers on it. So, for example, when Stone Cold went, hey, on 3/16 day, your boss works for you, Byron would hold up a board and it would have 6 on it, and Austin would just look at him like, man, you are an absolute idiot. And we had more of these too, so you can greet people with a 1-finger salute. 4 words are more than acceptable, and of course you can just drink as much beer as you like. And if you are hearing this saying there is no way that Stone Cold Steve Austin just saying words and Byron Saxton holding up numbers would have been fun, You'd have been wrong. I don't know what it was. Stone Cold Steve Austin's facial expressions help a lot. I thought this was a hoot. Stone Cold finished it off by saying that you can whip anybody's ass and get away with it, and I want to point out that if you did take that advice on and you went out into the street and you beat somebody up, you are going to have to start running because the cops are about to knock on your door. Simply not true. When we were done, Austin invited Byron into the ring, and straight away you knew what was gonna happen. They shared a beer, but as Saxton was enjoying his, Austin probably accidentally kicked him right in the balls. I think he was going for his stomach, but he missed, and it was Town Testicle. He gave Byron the stunner. Byron sold it very well, and Austin celebrated like there was 100,000 people watching. In fact, during his opening promo, he even said, "Give me a hell yeah," and in a very good comedic timing part of WWE, the camera just cut to an empty chair. Actually very funny. Becky Lynch was then out there to celebrate with Steve Austin, which came out of nowhere. I was like, what the hell happened? Why aren't you driving or at least moving your truck? Again, I've told you it was parked illegally. And by the time Byron Saxton got to his feet, Stone Cold gave him another stunner. And that was the end of a very, very, very weird episode of Monday Night Raw. Even without a crowd though, this was very enjoyable. And again, let's double down on this. More goofiness, more ludicrousness, more ridiculousness. Just be stupid and throw it into my face. So there's my arrow. This is pointless. This is pointless. WWE did the best they could. It can have an up, but we're only going to be talking about this in years to come. Again, because it's like, what the hell happened there? Can you believe we even lived through it? So it gets an up, but really, let's just move on. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about last night's episode of Raw. Like, share, and subscribe. Head over to WhatCulture.com, read yourself some articles, follow WhatCulture on Twitter, WhatCulture WWE, and watch more videos here on WhatCulture Wrestling. My name is Simon from WhatCulture, and yes, because of this craziness, it does look like the death match between me and Sami Callihan is going to have to be postponed for just a little bit, but here's a few things. One, it is going to happen by hook or by crook, and two, Sami, you don't think I've worked this stuff out? I've seen all the little glitches that have been happening over ups and downs the past couple of weeks. I scanned your QR code, I saw all your little stuff. How you got into the system, I don't know, but all you're doing is brewing this up into a big ball that will explode at some point in the future, I don't know when, and I promise I'm gonna kick your ass. And even if I don't, given the rules of the match, I will pick you up in the air and I will slam you through a table. So okay, it's on the back burner for now, but I'm watching. Stop flubbing with my videos. See ya.